Shauntel Leeson, and I'm watching you on the Lake Forest Podcast.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Looking for the best pool supplies? Look no further than Dohany's Pool Supplies. With a history dating back to 1967, this family-owned business offers everything families need to keep their pools clean and sparkling, from chemicals to equipment. Plus, customers enjoy free shipping on all orders. Visit Dohany's Pool Supplies today at dohany.com, DOHENY.com, to learn more. Forest Bluff Real Estate Team serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and of course Michelle Parnell. Get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havey Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest's own Mike Havey. Check them out at haveycommunications.com. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters: Matt A., Elizabeth C., Costa, Lance, Otto, RDM, John C. Shout out to the Lake Forest Breakfast Group, Broad Stop and Captain Mike's in Kenosha, the Greentown Tavern, and the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan. Shauntel Leeson, welcome to the Lake Forest Podcast.
Thank you.
Well, you are a Lake Forest resident, is that correct?
I've been in Lake Forest since the early 90s.
Check the box. Okay, we will continue.
Checking the box.
Good Lake Forester. Shauntel and I know each other as well, and I'm glad to see her be on the show with her.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Welcome, Shauntel. We met at Duffers, that event that Randy Tack had during the campaign at Duffers. That's I think my wife and I met you when you were by the appetizer table, as I recall.
I remember eating munchies. I remember that. Talking about our kids. My daughter's in Lake Forest High School.
Great story about your daughter. Wonderful.
Yeah. So she was a high school cheerleader, and she did the business incubator. She was one of the 5 national finalists for that. Ooh. And she finished her last exam yesterday at school. So can I brag on my kid for a second here?
You just did. Keep going.
She's at the University of Paris, Dauphine, so she's been in France. And so she finished her exam yesterday. She's taking off for Amsterdam tomorrow, and then on to Ibiza, Spain after that, and then on to Morocco. So, that's what school's all about.
Wow.
Right?
World traveler.
Well, you know what? When they go to school, and she's in a program that's called a full immersion. So in full immersion, you go to school in Europe for an entire year. She's at the University of, she's at Carleton University in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And they have a pilot program where they send them abroad for a full year. So it's, spend your parents' money type of program.
Yeah. I sent a child off to Europe for a year in college too. So yeah, I know what you mean.
It's a fun
Sounds
point.
like a great experience though for her. So
it is. It's a fun point, and some people are saying that college is not worth it because there's not a lot of opportunity after the kids graduate. I say to anyone who says that, get off of that one.
Yeah,
school is worth it. You need to get away from home. You need to go and discover yourself. You need to act up. Let's face it. It's all about having some beer. Yeah. and you're about having a glass of wine. They need to be able to do that with their friends and not feel guilty about it or sneak in the house.
It's called get a job.
Right.
No, I mean,
I think we're all going to be. What's your daughter's name?
Jennifer Leeson.
I think we're all going to be working for Jennifer one day. She's going to be our boss. It sounds like she's got a great career ahead of her. So,
well, this is a very active debate as to whether liberal arts colleges are worthwhile or not, or whether people should be more vocational in their education. I've always been a believer in liberal arts education. I think it's helpful that you learn a variety of things which may not have any direct vocational benefit, but then worry about learning a profession, learning a job after college. Because it's important to have a basic knowledge and broad knowledge of cultural issues, of history, of chemistry, of all kinds of different topics that you may never use again, but sometimes they pop up in times when you don't necessarily expect them. Even art history questions occasionally come up in conversation, and it's helpful to know.
Don't get me going, guys, on the education. Education is decentralized now. All you need is proctors. All you need to do is have somebody prove that you know what the information is. Don't get me going on that. Shauntel, before we digress even further, we have a lot of new people moving into the area, and this is the first time you're on the show. Can you give us your background, please? You've been in town since the early 90s. You're in the podcast business too, of sorts.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. I have a podcast show now. It's called Money Talk Viewpoint. And I started the show because I am in the financial services business. I was a financial advisor, and I've been in that business for more than 25 years, maybe 27 years. And I've worked for several large investment firms. And the difference is that I specialize in family office. And family office is more of a concierge practice for the ultra high net worth. Now, I'm going to break family office into 3 different tiers. There's the single family office, which is about 100 million and above. That level, because they need a whole team of professionals, and it costs a ton of money. And it's more than just investments. It could be for anything. It could be getting private tickets to the right seats and whatever, or a private jet. In fact, I have a speaker coming on tomorrow. There's a private jet service, but it's also their investments, their legal, their financial, their accounting, all the things that a wealthy family needs is done through the family office. Then there's a second tier called a multifamily office, and that's what maybe not 100 million, but 50 million or 25 million. That's what that group is for. And then last but not least is virtual family office. And virtual family office, I'm going to call it for the upstarts, because you get these people that are, upstarts in the technology industry, or influencers like myself coming up the ladder and coming into a lot of money, but they still need to have someone to advise and guide them on ways to protect their assets for the long haul. And I'm going to use another good example are sports athletes, because athletes come out of nowhere. And I'm going to use the example of Shaquille O'Neal talked about this when he first started making money. He bought a sports car for himself. Then he bought one for his father. Then he bought one for his mother. And his banker called him in and says, you got to pay the IRS too. He didn't know about taxes. So they had to retrain him on how to invest his money so they'd have money that will last. So that's what I do. So I created the talk show, Money Talk Viewpoint, because it's a marketing platform and it's a networking group for financial professionals. We also get, I work with another company that gets us TV interviews. So if you're a financial professional, you get to be famous by being on a TV talk show. My goal is to compete with Oprah and become the talk show specialist in the family office area.
So Shauntel, being in Lake Forest since the 90s, it's just a bunch of guys on. We get criticized because it's just guys talking, and we have our point of view, and
we've been criticized.
Yeah, we have. But we did meet some great people last night at the caucus executive vote. Again, that's where we saw Shauntel, and you're very active, Shauntel.
And I also went to the debate. Yeah. And you know what? I will tell you about politics. I have some relatives in politics. I'm cautious how I say this. Based on
you're on the wrong podcast, lady.
I thought about even joining the caucus. So I think that I would add a little bit of a different dimension to the caucus. What do you think?
I'm in favor of it.
You got my vote.
All the boxes.
The caucus, but if you're a Lake Forest voter, you're a member of the caucus.
Shauntel, whatever you're running for, I'm voting for.
Get on the 43 person board. I think you should try that. Yes.
I don't keep up with everything. Sorry to tell you that, but it would get me involved, and I would like to introduce more things than what's going on in local government to people in the community. I know a lot of people don't pay attention to everything. We got to play tennis first. You got to go jogging and shopping. And
pickleball. Pickleball's the new thing.
Pickleball.
Oh, God.
Pickleball. I still haven't seen pickleball played. I'm looking forward to it.
Making sure you got enough pickleball courts out here to play.
Well, Shauntel, you're speaking to thousands of people right now. What's the one thing the people should know that you like to get out there?
I think that okay. Back to school. I think school's very important. What we can do for the schools is very, very important. I think that schools should have more programs that involve children in the real world. And I like the fact that my daughter did the business incubator, so she learned about marketing, and they did a videotape of her, but she also learned that there's a lot of work involved in what you do. And school is a good training ground so you get the fundamentals, but I think we need to add more into our education system to get them to understand the real world. And everybody's not going to like you, and everybody's not going to agree with you, and your ideas are not going to always sell. That kids need to know that. And they need to know that some of the stuff that goes on in the workplace is not always very nice. And so there's no hiding place. And when you jump off of that platform that you're protected in school, there's another world out there, and it goes on forever. It's for the next 30, 40 years of your work life. So find something you like to do. You're going to probably change careers several times in your life. So you need to learn several different things that are going to be benefiting you over time. But I think school is a very important issue, and we need to add more to it to make it more realistic of what children are learning. They need to learn about income tax returns. They need to learn that you have
personal finance, Shauntel. Speak it, sister. Yes. Why don't they make that mandatory?
I think that make it mandatory. They need to learn. They need to understand them. You know, a lot of people don't trust their financial advisors. I'm a trustworthy one. But they need to understand their finances. They need to know that money does run out, and there's not a mom and dad's going to pay all your bills for you. You'll be paying your own car note. You're paying your own rent. You're going to have relationships, and your spouse is going to run through all your money. You need to know all of this in advance. You need to know some of this at least as you prepare to enter to the real world. So we need to prepare our children for the real world. We need to do a better job of how we prepare them for it. It's not just about theory.
Does the high school have a class in financial literacy?
Elective.
It's an elective. That's good. It should be a mandatory.
Yeah,
everybody
should. Way back in the 90s, I was on a school board in Niles Township, Niles District 219, and this was something I mean, it was like Shauntel wrote my speeches back then, because I was saying the same thing. We need, it's great that we have English, and it's great that we have foreign language and all the other stuff in there, but there needs to be, every single person is going to go out in the real world and be something somewhere in the economy. And we really don't train kids for this. They have some electives, and we had a business ed teacher that was really, really good back in the day. Pete Christie was also the basketball coach. Scoo Walker might remember him, but they were all electives. And so most kids would go through and they'd have no clue about basic things like balancing a checkbook and how to invest. And as you said, setting aside the money for taxes, because that was a great example you had with Shaq of spending the money and not realizing, come April 15th or April 18th this year, you got to pay the IRS and the Illinois Department of Revenue. So I'm all on that there needs to be a mandatory course on consumer finance. And if something else has to be set aside to do that, we'll probably have to do that, because I don't care who you are, whether you're rich, poor, or anywhere in between, you're going to be out in the real world and have to deal with money.
People are always learning it the hard way. They're learning it by going bankrupt. They're learning it by taking out too many credit cards, running up a lot of credit card debt, and then finding that they cannot pay that. And you pay that minimum balance, you pay that forever.
So Shauntel, why don't the schools do this, you think? Let's look at Lake Forest. You got 1,400 kids. They just got their 105 million. And it's like going to the small restaurant that has a menu that's 20 pages long. Shouldn't they focus on the basics?
I think that you should have the basics, but they should add in the realities. I think that what happened is we look at our system of education. It was based on an industrialized economy a century ago. And to teach people how to follow orders and prepare to follow rules in the workplace. We haven't moved the system of education up to make people think for themselves on their feet. There's a world out here that these kids, my daughter calls it the Lake Forest bubble. And I correct her, I said, every environment is a bubble. If you live in the hood, that's a bubble. If you live in Lake Forest, that's a bubble. It's just that there are different bubbles. You need to know how to move from bubble to bubble. And so you need to understand that if you do have a job issue and you need to go to another job, don't be afraid to take something that's not as high just to keep yourself an income stream till you get back where you're going. Don't be afraid to take extra classes to learn something new. And I will add one other thing. There need to be other levels of education. We need to not look down on the trades. We don't have trade schools anymore. They don't teach trades in school anymore. My father had a plumbing business. Well, you know what? My dad had a plumbing business, an HVAC business, home renovation business, painting business. Yet he still went to school, became a chief engineer for the University of Chicago hospitals, but he still had all these businesses. We had all kind of people in and out of our company because we all went to private schools. He had to pay tuition. So that's the reality. Yeah, right. If you're going to pay credit card bills, earn money to pay them. So we have to get kids to the real world. I don't care which bubble you live in. You need to learn how to cross bubbles because you don't know where you're going to be in life. You need to know how to get along with different kinds of people.
And when you're talking about the trades, when you're talking about the trades today, these are highly sophisticated jobs. Plumbing, operating engineers, all electrical. Oh yeah, these are very complicated jobs. This is not just something where you just pick up a hammer and start whacking away.
And they're good paying jobs.
Yes.
And in today's economy, you can really write your own ticket if you get these skills, because there's an employee shortage everywhere lately. I mean, going to any restaurant or store and you'll see it firsthand. But the trades are really like Shauntel said, the unsung thing. We had Dr. Bill Griffin on from College of Lake County. And I'm sure he'd have a lot to say about that, because I think you can learn some of that stuff at CLC.
The community colleges, undervalued
very vital. College of Lake County, easily the largest educational institution in the county, a vital component of bringing up kids, young adults, and teaching them how to make a living. It seems like from 2000 plus, all the kids wanted to become programmers. They all want to become, computer programmers. Nobody wants to become a plumber or electrician, or other trade. And yet, now we have a huge shortage of people who can do that. And they are making good money for it, but it is hampering the economy. I think that we have a shortage of skilled construction workers.
Well, you have to get people that want to work.
Well, other things too, that no matter what, you always need to have your toilet fixed when it breaks down. You need someone to fix something if the lights go out in the house you can't fix. There are certain things about the trades that people forget about we need them as much as we need a doctor. And we need to make those things look like they're an opportunity for people. I think we're presenting them in the wrong light, because a lot of people are building businesses on those and making a fortune and doing very well at it. But if we present it in the wrong light, if you present it in the wrong way, kids think I would never waste my time doing that. And yet that's not the way to present anything. Every job is necessary. Believe it or not, I appreciate going through the drive-through and getting my Starbucks. I don't want to work there, but I appreciate going there to do that. We forget the value of every little job that puts our society together. And we need to make those jobs look valuable and not look down on them. I think that's what happens in our society. We look at, if you're not a Wall Street person, and I've worked in the investment firm, it sucks sometimes, but people think that, oh my God, she's a VP for XYZ. Yeah, fine, but what I put up with, you wouldn't believe. We need everything. We need every job. We need to value every job and not look down. And we need to teach our
Shauntel, you're talking to Dr. Montgomery right now. You're talking to Erin Reinhardt, the principal, Leinert. Okay. They're all watching right now, and we're going to fix the curriculum at the school. In priority, personal finance. I'm going to throw out a couple things here. Critical thinking, right? Prioritizing. Like Second City, ad-libbing. We say thinking on your, how to deal with an unfamiliar situation and dealing with it, and coming out of it. Okay, that's 3 classes. I'm waiting for some more. What else we got?
I like this. I like what you're putting together. I think we should present it to the school board. I really do.
You need
not only the critical skills, but people need to know how to handle themselves and not lose their composure in a bad situation. You don't have to always get violent or angry. You can still handle it. That needs to be taught. I mean, or you shouldn't explode.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to explode. You can get angry without exploding. They need that. That is those all behaviors learned. We don't think about that, but all behaviors basically learned. There's nothing out of the box. You learn it from observation, you learn it from your environment, or it's taught to you. But we can teach children how to be better at relating to one another and how to communicate. That's important in our lives.
What about mental health? Kids, especially in grade school. Okay, we're going to leave the high school. Let's go to the Deer Path now.